Welcome to the Africa Climate Summit talk show. This is a historic gathering, the largest gathering in the continent's history on the issue of climate change and the response of Africa to climate change. Why is Greenpeace Africa choosing to be here and to participate?
This is very important for Greenpeace Africa, as this is, as you've said, the inaugural summit on the climate. This is something that we've been waiting for over 30 years, since the meeting in Rio on climate. African governments have finally realized the importance of tackling climate change as a continent. And so for us, this is a big push into the right direction. When we have our leaders coming together as one, as a bloc, to really discuss and find solutions together to the issues of climate change, I think that is remarkable. And we are extremely happy as Greenpeace that they're actually taking this seriously and coming together with one voice. And that's why we're here. We're here because it's important for Africa to start talking about climate change as an important pathway to development. You know, in our continent, everything is currently linked to climate change, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's water management, whether it's extreme heat waves that we are seeing in all of our countries. This is the impact of climate change. And so it's really important for our leaders to get that and come together as one and find a common solution for our common problem. So that's why we're here.
So what is the role of an organization like Greenpeace Africa? Who does Greenpeace Africa speak for or represent in this climate crisis debate and conversation?
Greenpeace Africa is, Greenpeace itself is an international organization for the promotion of the environment. We are in 55 countries globally, and Greenpeace Africa is the continental voice of the global organization. We are currently in 5 regions, so we have regional offices throughout the continent. And we speak for our communities. We speak for the people who are impacted by climate change because we work with communities. We advocate for communities at various levels, whether it's national, continental, or international levels. So we are a campaigning organization bringing the voices of the communities into the climate debate at all levels. And so we are here to tell our governments that we are tired of just meetings and summits and conferences. We need to have a clear path to tackle climate change. When we go to COP28 in Dubai in November, what we expect from the governments, our stakeholders, is that they come up with a clear roadmap with financial commitments on behalf of Africans to say, this is where Africa stands. This is how much we as governments are going to put on the table as domestic resources. This is the plan for us to go to the international, to tap into those international funding for climate change. You know, as of now, Africa is tapping into less than 2% of the global funds for climate change. Why? We have the resources in terms of human resources. We have the young people who are the doers. We have the natural resources. We have the sun, we have the water, we have the wind. So why are we not harnessing into our natural resources, into our human resources to say to the world, we are the solution of this climate change. We need to be sitting at the table. You cannot speak about climate change without having Africa at the table, not on the menu. And we are here to voice those opinions from the communities, and we are here to push our government to do so.
Thank you so much for that, Doctor. Just listening to you, I'm reminded that for so many people, even the impact of climate change is unknown. How serious is climate change in Africa? And can you give us some examples of things that are happening as the voice of civil society, as a very operational organization?
Climate change is serious. It's actually an emergency. We should call it climate emergency. You've seen what Freddie has done recently in many regions in Africa, whether it's East Africa or Southern Africa. We took COVID as a global pandemic, right? It was a global emergency. Climate is as global emergency as COVID is. I mean, we need to be serious about how to find solutions to mitigate, to adapt to climate change. We're talking about loss and damage. Yes, loss and damage. People need to be people need to be paid for the damage that the climate has been causing to them, right? And the majority of those people are in Africa. So loss and damage is good. But we also need to have ways to have African governments take serious steps on the adaptation, on the mitigation. You know, for mitigation, we're talking about 1.5. We said, okay, 1.5 is the limit, you know, and this is really an issue that the big emitters, the West, you know, who are polluting the environment, and they're talking about how we should further invest in the carbon market. We are saying, no, we need to start investing in renewable energy. We need to leapfrog into, especially when I say we, I'm talking about Africa. Africa needs to leapfrog into renewable energy, because we cannot continue to take the model of extractivism that the West has been doing in Africa for the past 60 years, which has proven its limit. It doesn't work. This mentality of coming to Africa and extract and develop their countries is not working for us. So we need a new model of development, which is about renewable energy. And I know it's not something immediate that we can do, right? So there's a transitional period. That it's fine. But we need to start taking it very seriously. We need to sensitize our people about the importance of climate change. We need to advocate for our governments to put money into this transition towards renewable energy. And we need to have money with concrete plans in communities. And those plans have to be implemented by communities. So we're talking about having a Nairobi Declaration today, which is great. It's a roadmap, right? So what is the financial commitment from our governments, from the international community who are here? What are they going to do to accompany Africa to implement that Nairobi Declaration so that it translates into concrete actions for our communities? So that's really what we are pushing for.
It's a massive question. It's a good question. What is the ask of Greenpeace Africa? The conversation here is not about mitigation. We left that conversation a long time ago, and we accepted that some of the impacts of climate change are irreversible. There's a lot of discussion here about adaptation and how to adapt to these realities, and then climate finance, and how to create the financing that is going to create these new livelihoods, not based on methods, activities that are damaging to the environment. What does Greenpeace Africa want to see in real terms? What are you asking for here at this summit as the voice of civil society, one of the voices, one of the most well-known voices in civil society?
Yeah, we're saying plainly, stop drilling, stop gassing Africa, and start paying for the damages you've caused. They need to stop giving subsidies to these fossil fuel industries. Instead of those subsidies, invest more into the transition of renewable energy. We need to protect our Congo Basin, which is a big carbon sink in Africa. Congo Basin is the second largest rainforest in the world after the Amazon. We need to protect that Congo Basin. We're telling them we need to be able to sit at the table with you, with our governments, with stakeholders, to really give you solutions, because Africans have the knowledge. Africans have, they live through this. You know, our ancestors have been living in harmony and peace with nature forever. So we have traditional ways of doing things. Can we go back to some of those things and really upgrade them to the ways that we are developing as a continent? Those are the asks that we are telling the people here, our governments. You know, let us be at the table with you, give civil society space and voice to be able to find solutions together that will work in our communities in terms of renewable energy. Stop giving subsidies to this fossil fuel industry, protect the Congo Basin, and stop drilling. really, we need to stop this scramble for oil and gas in Africa. Those are the asks for Greenpeace Africa.
Fantastic. Final question. How can we ensure, or how does an organization like Greenpeace ensure that this is just not another summit, another meeting? What are the tangible outcomes? What for you, or how would you define this summit as being successful and impactful? What would you need to see?
We would love to see the Nairobi Declaration translated into an accountability framework with resources attached to it, so that we can take that roadmap with resources and actually accompany civil society organizations or communities to implement them at the very local level. That, if we can do that, if African governments can come with a declaration which can then be translated into a framework with financial accountability, financial commitment, then we're good. Because that will be the beginning of us taking this issue of climate change very seriously. Because if you don't put your money where your mouth is, it doesn't serve any purpose. We had so many meetings, so many COPs have been going on. But concretely, what is Africa doing? What is the roadmap for us to say to our people, we as African Union, we as African continent, this is what we are going to do in terms of climate change. This is the budget we are committing to. This is how much we're going to mobilize from the international financing mechanism. That, if we do that, we're good.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I hope that the Africa Climate Summit is a success.
Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
me.